All right, we're down here inside of one of the arenas here at Dreamhack Denver 2017, where they're doing a lot of the esports stuff. And in the background of the esports is something that I think is actually a little bit cooler. We actually have miniature drone racing. And we managed to snag the CEO of this group to tell us all about it.
All right, well, thank you very much. My name's Mark Kornblatt. We are the Aerial Sports League, and we're one of the oldest drone sports organizations in the world. We've been producing drone combat and drone racing for about 6 years now, and we're really excited. This is our first time here at Dreamhack. It's such a huge event. 30 or 40,000 people are here in total, it seems like. And so just to be a small part of this massive event is really a lot of fun for us.
How long have you been doing this? I mean, I've obviously everyone's been going crazy for drones because you can buy them on Amazon, you can get some with cameras, and people get in trouble for flying them over top of stadiums all the time now. Yeah. When did you get started?
I actually started flying drones in about 2010, 2011. I bought a Parrot AR drone at the mall, and the first thing my friends and I did, because we build robots and battle bots and things like that, the first thing we did was smash the drones together, and they immediately broke. And so that made us scratch our head and say, wait a minute, how do we build a better mousetrap here? So we did a Kickstarter to build an indestructible drone for combat and training, and it's a big 450 drone. It's not what you see here in the background right now. And we actually prototyped it by shooting it out of the sky with a shotgun, setting it on fire, just about everything you could do to it, and the airframe really was able to survive all of that. And so our meetup group started doing these combat meetups, and before we knew it, we had 200, 300 people coming as spectators at these meetups. And so it kind of organically turned into almost like an entertainment company. We're a sports league. We do drone racing. Drone combat is especially popular, and we're starting to innovate a whole bunch of new games as well, multiplayer games, games that are based more on the game types that you see in video games, where you have multiplayer games with objectives, and we're starting to prototype some of those with real drones as well.
Oh wow, so you're not only just running the drones, you're in full-on R&D to make new types of games and technology for them.
Absolutely. We've been, we've been at the forefront from the beginning. And our community in San Francisco Bay Area, we're all inventors and engineers. And so we're very easily bored with the status quo, and we want to just push the limits. What can we do next? How can we combine drones with other technologies? Or how can we get more people involved and get their engineering brain power pointed at this drone sports community? And quite frankly, in the Bay Area, there's so many people interested that the developments just come nonstop, like rapid fire. Every week or every other week, there's some new paradigm shift in the world of drone sports.
All right, cool. Now, has all the recent brouhaha with the FAA taking some control over drones, has that caused any problems for you?
Actually, within our world of drone sports, it's had very little effect. Generally, when we're doing organized sports, we're very highly cognizant of the rules and the laws. And so most of the organizations stay well within the limits, and they work directly with the FAA and the AMA modeler organization as well. So basically, we've been okay not having too much conflict with that. And as you can see here, we're indoors. And quite frankly, the FAA has said to us directly that when we're indoors, we're not under their jurisdiction. So we could do all sorts of things with drones and flamethrowers and paintball guns and just let your mind go crazy, as long as you're indoors and not outside.
And that's not to say that you aren't safety-minded. I mean, you guys have got a nice net here over top of your drone racing course, so that it looks like if anything hits the net, it'll just get tangled up and you can just pick it back up.
That's true. We always encourage our pilots to innovate, but at the same time, we make sure that they know what the limits of safety are. And so this netting is actually really good for most low-level combat weapons like net launchers or chaff shooters, and the various like strings and danglers that we have. But we have some guys who are building flamethrowers and projectile launchers, and this netting isn't quite good enough. So
you might need to step it up a little bit for that.
We have like a BattleBots cage with plexiglass walls for when we really step it up. But that's an expensive proposition, so we can't bring it out very often.
Even if you made it portable, those are heavy and expensive to transport. All right, cool. So, I mean, it makes sense that if you want to avoid any conflict in the future, to just work directly with people like the FAA when you're working with stuff that flies. That way, if anything ever happens, they're like, you're already in compliance. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. You know, working with the AMA and the FAA and joining a local drone community, and they're really everywhere now. Almost every city or town has some group of drone flyers and hobbyists. And quite frankly, if you're associated with the community, you're going to be steered in the right direction. If you go off on your own and you're not sure of the rules, you're likely to break them or fly too close to an airport or all that kind of stuff that people are doing to get in trouble. But if you're part of a group, the group will pretty much keep you in line. We're very good at self-policing because we want to keep flying and all the rules are starting to constrict a little bit, so we have to be a paragon.
It's a situation where one person really can ruin it for everybody.
Absolutely.
The whole industry is only one really nasty accident away from like, oh, nope, take your drones home, not here.
It's true. That's why we love to fly indoors, because we're always under the radar.
So what kind of setup have you guys got going here?
Well, we have a 20 by 40 cage, and today, or this weekend, we're actually doing 3 things. Right now, we're doing just drone training for beginners, line of sight with little toy drones. But this race course and all these hoops that you see is for the pilots who have the FPV goggles and the camera on their drone, and so they'll be racing at high speed through this course with tiny little drones that are only about that large. But it's still a very professional grade experience that they'll be racing, and there'll be some video screens up showing the audience what the pilots see. And then the third thing we're doing is we'll be doing some demonstrations of drone combat as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So what's the basic drone combat kit? Do you just duct tape a knife to the bottom of it or what?
Well, there's no single solution. Basically, you need a drone and an airframe that's tough and can handle crashes well. But we're starting to see a lot of weapons development. The simplest thing is dogfighting and just having like air superiority, higher ground, so to speak. But increasingly, we're seeing nets being launched at each other, web slingers. I have a drone that has like a dangling ribbon below it, so if I can get above you, I can get my ribbon tangled up in your props. And then it just releases with a magnet. And so we're always pushing the boundaries of what we can get away with to safely create weapons and defensive systems for the drones.
Oh, that's really cool. All right. Well, thanks for taking some time to tell us all about this. And yeah, no, this is great. I mean, it sounds like a great way to get started with drones, and it's a safe environment to do it with a bunch of professionals, which is always good to see.
You know, in the last year, it's gotten really inexpensive, and the barriers to entry are almost gone. So if you have an interest in this, you can do this FPV racing with the goggles, and you can get it started for like under $100, $150 for everything that you need.
You hear that, parents? It's cheaper than the other hobbies your kids could get into. Get them a drone instead of an Xbox.
Yeah, because then you have to go outside and chase the drone, you get some fresh air.
Climb a tree to go get it when it gets stuck in the leaves, all that stuff. All right, well, thank you.
Sure, my pleasure.